Yo, what's good guys, Johto Giraffe. Hopefully everyone's doing well. When you're new here, welcome to my channel. And today we have a fairly long overdue video. I completed this, collection goal right here in PSA 9. Probably like a year and a half ago, around November 2022. But then on the right here, we do have all PSA 9 Holos, the VS set specifically. And on the right, we do have all the PSA 9 TMs, TM 1s and 2s of different gym leaders, trainers, and yeah, so figured I'd do a little collection video. And also the reason I'm doing this is because some of these cards, if not all of these, might be up on my eBay, so please go check it out. But yeah, VS set is probably one of my favorite sets. It is a mixture of Gym Heroes Gym Challenge, and think of like that, but like a Gen 2 version. So we see Faulkner right there as a gym leader, and also we see Faulkner right here as a TM. So yeah, just love the Gen 2 era. As you can tell by name, Johto Giraffe, I love Gen 2, Johto, everything about it. Hard Cold Soul Silver are the greatest games of all time. Let's hold off the Holos for, I guess, the end, but then let's get into the TMs for now. So let's just put this up right here. So yeah, so these TMs all have a little silhouette, at least the TM ones have a silhouette, or maybe not a silhouette, but actually a portrait of the gym leader itself. So let's get right into it. And as I mentioned, both piles are all PSA 9s. I think PSA 9s have the best bang for your buck. So yeah, let's get right into it. So starting off, we have TM1 of Faulkner. So we see Faulkner right there. And I'm gonna say this every time I see these kind of TMs, but then these TMs remind me of like Cubics, that little cartoon that we grew up like on Kids WB TV. These cubes always just remind me of that. But anyways, we have a Faulkner TM1, PSA 9, and all the VS cards are in this first edition stamp, which I think is a very nice touch. Doesn't really mean much because there wasn't a unlimited, but then still, I think just having that stamp is really cool. So PSA 9, Faulkner TM1, and for the TM2s, I kind of wish they still had the portrait, but then it's just like the standalone box itself. So we have TM2, and I'm pretty sure this is a move that you can attach to one of your Pokemon, and same with this one right here. So yeah, that is going to be a common theme. And then next up, our second gym leader is Bugsy with a little olive green TM right there, TM1. And same color, we do have the TM2 as well. I believe there is like a little, I guess, symbol of like the badge, like a little ladybug or something. But yeah, we have TM number 2 for Bugsy. And Whitney, I think this is every kid's PTSD growing up playing Gen 2 or Gold and Silver specifically. The Miltank was just a beast, and yeah, pretty sure wrecked all of our teams at least once. But we do have Whitney right there with TM1. This one's just like a plain silver box. And behind it we do have TM2 as well. And I believe like the symbol is the gym. Sorry, the gym badge. So yeah, I think that's what the symbol is gonna denote. So we have, I believe this is the plain badge. I think that's what it's called. But Whitney's TM2. And now we have Morty, Gym Leader 4, with this purple and like a little hint of like lime green on the bottom. But we do see Morty right there, TM number 1. Then Morty's TM2. Next up, we have Jasmine, the steel type trainer or gym leader with this yellow box with like this little green lightning symbol with like a red dot. So we have Jasmine right there, TM number 1. And behind it, the same TM, or I guess the same design, TM2 right there. All PSA 9 as I mentioned. Next we have Chuck. So I believe you could do either of these in whichever order, but then I think you had to do Chuck's gym before Jasmine, but the numbering kind of says otherwise. So kind of confused about that. But anyways, we do see Chuck, the fighting type gym leader, with a like red orange cube box thing. So Chuck right there. We also have TM number 2, basically like the same design. And next we have Price, the old man with this like orange bronze colorish cube something, but this is his TM number 1. And this isn't the usual Price, I guess, portrait. I'm used to him in like that striped shirt that he wore in like the games, but then I guess this is a good fit for him as well. So Price TM number 1. We also have TM number 2, same shade, same design. And next we have Claire. So Claire, the dragon type gym leader, the 8th gym leader. It was such a pain to get her gym badge because you had to go to the Dragon's Den and prove yourself that you're worthy. But anyways, hers is a very, I guess, particular design on this cube. It's like a blue and white tie-dye of some sorts. But yeah, so this is her TM1. And behind it, we do also have TM number 2 right there. And like this, maybe it's a camo pattern, but then camo, tie-dye, something. But yeah, blue and white right there. And now we're getting into the Elite Four, which is kind of surprising. So we have Janine, this like green leopard print or something, I guess, which kind of makes sense, I guess, but she was mostly a toxic gym leader. And we also have her TM number 2 right here. And again, all these are PSA 9. Now we're getting to Elite Four. So we have Will with his sidekick, really trippy cube, like this purple, dark purple, light purple, I guess wave pattern on the cube. So we have Will, portrait of him, PSA 9. Also we have his TM number 2 right behind it. And next we're getting into Bruno. So Bruno is similar to Chuck's, but I think his is more of like a red compared to like an orange red. But then yeah, so we have Bruno right there with TM number 1. And we have Bruno's TM number 2. And we have Karen. I think it's a pretty popular waifu from the Gen 2 era. But we have Karen, and this one's just like a dark, I don't even know, it looks like dirt in a way, but it's like black, blue, shades of like maybe like tannish here and there. But I think what's interesting for hers, her TM2 is like this like hot rod flame pattern, orange, red, yellow, all that going on. So I think this is like the only TM pair where it's like very different. So we have TM number 1 on the left and then TM2 on the right. So yeah, very interesting design. And behind it, this is kind of like a one-off, but then this is a Rockets TM. It's just all black, maybe like a little lighter gray or something, but we have a Rockets TM number 1. And that is all that this Rocket Grunt got. So we see just his face like peeping through, but yeah, that's all you're gonna see from the Rocket Grunt. And last but not least, we have the man himself. We have Lance with 2 TMs, TM1 and 2. And this one has like this like crosshatch design with like this purple, red, maybe like a mahogany and like a lavender colorish, but then really like the combination of the colors right here. So yeah, we see Lance in the background right there. And we do see a more, I guess, a little better of a details of the TM. So yeah, we have TM1 and TM2. So personally, I think these TMs are a little bit harder to come by in terms of like, I don't know, the rarity, quote unquote. It's not really that rare. It's just that you see a lot more of the actual Pokemon compared to these trainers, but very happy that I completed this set. And now let's get into the Holo set. So what I noticed with these Holos is that some of these Pokemon don't really match their signature Pokemon, like Faulkner's was Pidgeotto, but then as we see right here, we do see a Skarmory. And I think what they were doing is they were showcasing the Steel and the Dark types for the set specifically, because Gen 2 was a generation that introduced the Steel and the Dark type, so I think they're kind of really showcasing like what these kind of cards look like. But getting into the first one, we do have Faulkner's Skarmory. And honestly, if Faulkner actually had a Skarmory for like a first gym battle, that would have been super tough. I think that battle would have been pretty tough unless you had like a Cyndaquil or something. But anyways, getting to the art, we do see that Atsuko Nishida did the art for this. And one cool thing about the VS set in general is that each gym leader, or I guess each member, character, whatever you want to call them, they had their own dedicated artist. So all the Faulkner cards are done by Nishida, and then for the future, I guess Pokemon trainers will see their distinctions. So yeah, Skarmory done by Nishida, very, very nice, and a PSA 9. Next, we're getting into Bugsy's Scizor, and again, if we had to face Scizor instead of his Scyther, it definitely would have been a lot tougher battle, but we do see Scizor. We do see like the star pattern that the Scizor is staring up at, and I really like the contrast between like the blue and the red. All of Bugsy's Pokemon is illustrated by Kyoko Umemoto, so hopefully I said that correctly. Kyoko Umemoto, yeah, so that's the artist that did all of Bugsy's cards. So we have a Scizor and a PSA 9. Getting into Morty's Murkrow, and unfortunately Gengar didn't get the Holo treatment, which I'll show later as like an honorable mention, but we are showcasing the Dark type, so we do see Murkrow right there. And yeah, so this one, the first edition symbol was like gray instead of the usual black. The very cool thing about this VS set is that all the Holos have a Holo VS on the bottom left corner, so that's a very, very nice touch. And yeah, so I don't think Morty had a Murkrow. Maybe it did. My memory's kind of iffy, but yeah, I don't think Morty had a Murkrow. But I know he had the Gengar Ghastly Haunter line, so yeah. But yeah, so very nice addition of, I guess, like the Dark type to kind of showcase that. So we have a Murkrow. Sorry, completely forgot to mention, but the artist for Morty is Naoyo Kimura, which did a lot of notable cards. I think the more modern example will be the Van Gogh Pikachu. So he or she, don't really know the genders of these artists, but then I believe they did the illustrations for the Van Gogh. So yeah, and moving on, we have a Jasmine Steelix right here. And the artist for Jasmine's Pokemon is Yukiko Baba. And Baba has been around since the beginning, and I believe he or she is still doing artwork to this day. But we do see a Steelix, and the cool thing with this one is that like the swirl is like right by the end of the tail. I think that's a pretty cool touch, and we do see a little portrait of Jasmine on the bottom. So yeah, very, very nice. Steelix is just like chilling amongst some other rocks behind him, and I love the pattern on these, and also that little touch on the VS logo at the bottom. So again, PSA 9. And price is Sneasel. So Sneasel is a Ice Dark type, and I guess they went with the whole dark theme to really showcase the darkness type. And again, first edition, little portrait of Price. And Arita was the one that did all of Price's artworks. So we see Sneasel. It looks like he's like maybe rummaging through like a nest. Maybe it's his nest, maybe it's someone else's, but then we see him in some trees and stuff. So yeah. Moving on, we have a second Steelix, and this one is Bruno Steelix, and all of Bruno's Pokemon is done by Mori. I love Mori. It's a claymation, and I think it's kind of crazy how she kind of made Steelix float in a way because you see a shadow underneath of him. But man, I really want to see the process of how she kind of frames her Pokemon, makes her Pokemon, all that. So yeah, I would love to see like a little demonstration of how she does all of it. But yeah, very, very nice. Also, again, first edition. VS symbol Holo, and again, it is all done by Mori, all of Bruno's Pokemon. So yeah, and we actually have two of Karen's Pokemon in Holo form. We have a Tyranitar, probably the best Pokemon. I love Tyranitar. I know like his nickname is like Godzilla. Super strong. It was a must-have in any team. The only downside, I guess me personally, is that I wish you got Larvitar sooner compared to the post-game, but maybe that was more like a balancing issue because they just knew how strong T-Tar would be. Love this artwork of Tyranitar. Do you see a subtle swirl right by his claw right there? And all of Karen's Pokemon is done by Hajime, sorry I butchered that name, but Hajime Kusajima. So he or she is the one that illustrated all of Karen's Pokemon. So we have a Tyranitar in a 9. I think the one that everyone really cares about is this Umbreon sleeping in like, I don't know, maybe like a bush or like a patch of grass. But this artwork is so sick. I love how like the yellow hits on Umbreon is kind of like glowing as well. But yeah, we have Karen's Umbreon right there, PSA 9. This might be a very tough one for me to let go, but then I think maybe for me personally at the time of recording, I have different collection goals, so maybe because I had this for about a year and a half, maybe it can go to someone else, but we'll just have to see and see if I can pull the trigger. But for now, I think I am thinking about selling this. So yeah, and next we're getting into, I believe it's 4 Rocket cards. So starting off, we have Team Rocket's Wobbuffet. Love the little art in the background. I kind of wish it was like Jesse and James instead of like a Rocket grunt, but I guess it is what it is. And all of Rocket's Pokemon is done by Yoshida. So Yoshida is probably one of my favorite artists. He or she illustrated the Shining Mew, I guess the Korokoro promo card. So that is by far my favorite card. So yeah, very nice to see that he did all these illustrations. So we do see Wobbuffet, and again, the color, like the whole thing, like the purple, the blue, the little pink art in the background, just all kind of fits very well. So yeah, first edition Rocket's Wobbuffet in a PSA 9, and we're getting into all 3 legendary beasts. So we have Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. So let's get into them one by one. So we have a Raikou right there, and I think we do see a little silhouette of Giovanni. I'm pretty sure that's Giovanni, but if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments below. But Raikou definitely has to be my favorite, more because I think the nostalgia of encountering him first like ever in like a little playthrough that I did back when I was like 10, 11 years old. Legit didn't know what to do and threw a Pokeball and he ran away. So it was unfortunate, but then I think that's like my most fondest memory. Also, he's a saber-toothed tiger, so I think that kind of adds to the charm of it. So Raikou is definitely the favorite. Next, we're moving on to Entei right here, and I can't really make out what's behind him. Actually, I can't see it now. I think it's a juggler. So it's like a silhouette of like a juggler, and we do see Entei right there, little rocket grunt. We do see a giant orb right there, which is a very nice touch. The orb and the swirl, I know that those are 2 things that people kind of look for in like a holo pattern. And again, the VS symbol is holographic with the first edition stamp and PSA 9. And moving on to Suicune, I know it's a lot of people's favorites. I personally did play Crystal growing up, but then didn't really have that much affinity towards Suicune because it was so accessible. Like you're kind of like guaranteed, quote unquote, to catch it like at the end. So I think that's why Entei and Raikou have a much more, I guess, allure to catching them compared to Suicune. But yeah, I definitely do see the appeal of Suicune as well. In this one, we do see like this like red and black swirl behind it, and the contrast between the 2 colors goes very well. So yeah. We have Suicune, Rocket Suicune, and this is Rocket as well, but I believe this dude is from like a movie, and this T-Tar is from a deck, a constructed deck. Pretty affordable relatively, but then this is what you get on the front of the deck, and we do see Tyranitar, and the illustrator is Hiromichi Sugiyama, so hopefully I'm saying that correctly, but we do see a silhouette of the same grunt in the background, and Tyranitar. So this does look like more like a CGI 3D rendered on the computer compared to like Mori's like claymation. But yeah, that is a promo card. Not a promo card, I guess it's part of the set, but yeah. And this one, I think this is a cool thing. The first edition is actually holo, whereas the other ones were just like plain text, but then that is a very nice touch, and the VS symbol as well, and it is a PSA 9. And these are kind of not as interesting, but we do have a Metal Energy with a nice swirl right there. Metal Energy and like the VS border, PSA 9. we do have a dark energy, and as I mentioned, I think this set was more so to showcase the metal and the dark typing, so yeah, we have a dark type as well in the same VS border. Next, we have a rainbow energy to, I guess, kind of encompass the other mons as well. So rainbow energy, basically the same exact artwork from the Rockets rainbow energy and also the VS symbol. And these energies are unfortunately not first edition. They're just, I guess, unlimited, quote unquote. But I don't think having like a first edition or unlimited energy really mattered. So yeah, PSA 9. And this is the final holographic. It's the same rocket grunt from that T-Tar, and we do have a scissor, and this one is done by K Hoshiba, I think I said that right, and it is a Black Star promo. I believe this was from a magazine. Yep, Trainers Volume 12 magazine, and this was the promo card that came inside of it, and also is a PSA 9. So that is all the holos. Again, I mentioned it was a long overdue, I guess, video for me to make, but before I end, let me actually show you guys some honorable mentions. So as I mentioned, Gengar unfortunately did not get the holo treatment, but it is a card in the set, and crazy enough, it is a common. So we do have Morty's Gengar sticking his super long tongue out with like the sky in the background. I guess the orange that we see is more the clouds, and like this navy is like the sky, and we do see the moon right behind it. But yeah, we do have a Morty's Gengar right there. Next, we do have this Lance's Charizard by Kusube. All of Lance's illustrations are done by Kusube. You can definitely tell by the crosshatch pattern. So we do see Charizard right there. Very honorable mention. And again, with the Gengar, it is a common, which is kind of crazy. So we have Lance's Charizard and a 9. We can't go wrong with a Dragonite, his signature Pokemon, Lance's Dragonite. Right there, same crosshatch pattern. And last but not least, this is the last promo that kind of goes along with the Scizor. So we do have the Sneasel, but unfortunately this Sneasel is not holographic. It is just a glossy holo. Maybe it's just a regular. So do have the same rocket grunt, and this one for the Sneasel is done by Katsura Tabata. So yeah, those are the artists that are, I guess, responsible for these amazing illustrations within the VS sets. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video. There's unfortunately no art appreciation for this, but just really want to showcase the art on these VS cards. And please stay tuned. I am working on a master set, more specifically in a binder for the VS, so please stay tuned for that. But yeah, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy it. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.